50 feet. And that's what this is. The issue is it came in a bag. I mean, 50 feet of rope just crunched up in a bag. And literally, the rope felt like crusty. Like, it's harder to describe. Like, it had just been in the bag for a very long time. So I put it in the I tied the ends together and put it in the dryer for about 20 minutes. And I mean, frankly, it's the closest I think found to my favorite rope. And so this is, it doesn't fray much at all. I'm happy as can be. I bought BTC rope, unfortunately, last fall. And that, it just wasn't woven tightly together. I mean, the moment I cut it, you couldn't, it looked like I was holding a snowball.
And it cost a fortune, didn't it?
And it was expensive. Thankfully, Penguin reimbursed me for the entire spool that I bought. Because I bought like 100.
Oh, you got a knot in there. Hey!
So yeah, so I thought I'd share that with you. I mean, I'm probably being a little finicky. I don't do anything crazy fancy with the rope. Probably the trickiest thing I do is the one-handed pop net, which I know I think I've shown that to you guys before. But I'll have a jumping knot on the rope, and so I'm showing it. And as I show it, it's from Slovano, but I'm actually tying a pop knot here. But I'll keep it concealed, and then I'll take the knot, I'll pull the knot off the rope, slide it up, transfer, and then my favorite part of this is having a kid grab the other end of the rope. They can actually pull pretty hard, and it doesn't go. But then, it's gone. And I just love that to the end of the earth, because the kid's face says it all. Normally in Monty's theater, I usually just take the kid in the first row. I really should have them come up because their reaction to it, honestly, is 50% of the effect, and I'm wasting it. So I'm really happy. So I just bought 450 feet of the Murphy's rope because I do not want to worry about running out of rope for a while. Literally had to go into triage for a couple months where I'm like, okay, I got enough for 14 performances. Yes.
Tell us about your scissors.
So these are Mundial scissors, which are what Matt King uses, except his have a white enameled handle, because he does a load during his. So the white handle actually conceals the load. So these are nice scissors. I don't actually use these for performance. I use Fisker's cast scissors, or forged scissors. The reason is I feel like the red distracts. So the Fisker ones are almost identical, except they're solid stainless, and a little cheaper. These are like $30. The Fiskers are like 20. The Mundial ones, I understand why Matt King loves the heck out of these though. So what they have is a micro serrade. So they're really sharp, and the rope doesn't slip because that micro serrated edge, it grabs the rope, and I mean it cuts. And it has the little protector, which is really, really practical, actually.
I got the same scissors, and I bought them for the same reason as Matt King uses them.
Yeah, that was a Jeff tidbit. He mentioned it one night. So, and they're on Amazon. So
yes,
but they're from Mundial is a Brazilian company, I think.
is it?
Yeah. So
One
You
more
mentioned,
question.
well, I'm sorry, you mentioned one other thing that I think is very, very important. I've been doing business with Penguin Magic for years. They are the best I've ever worked with in terms of customer service. No one beats them in terms of customer service.
no, not at all. I mean, even I like Penguin. They send you that little cheesy video of them packing the box of your stuff. I'm not gonna lie, that puts a smile on my face.
A little dopamine hit every time.
Especially the first time you're like, whoa, really? They do this?
What would you call it, scissors, Scott?
Mundial.
Give them the model number too.
I ordered
You
something.
gotta
It's
have
a
that. It's like
download.
270 or
video.
something.
And it came.
If it's
and I
printed
was
on
in
it,
my little
so-
thing, and I hit
The other question I had,
know, it's
you
also
mentioned
advertising. They call
fabric
back
glue
this-
that you squeezed
You
inside
gotta-
to
for those
keep
who can't-
the
yes.
ends
You
together.
can't hit view, you gotta
It's glue I had. I didn't buy it
the
for
next
this
one over,
purpose.
which is
It
something
comes in
else.
a glue.
Then you can see
Yeah,
like this couple
it comes in a
hours worth
gold
of
bottle with
video,
a
but
white
the
cap.
View is what I
Gold
thought I
bottle,
should
white
see.
cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Right.
look
He was
at
right.
it.
Is this
called me
called
back.
fabric glue?
He didn't call me a stupid dummy.
I didn't know
If you could just let me
It's something
know.
I've
Next
had
button
for
over,
years, but
whichever
it
next
has
to
a
view is.
consistency of thick,
And I just
Elmer's
didn't
glue.
sound like it's something I would.
And then it
This is
dries
from Penguin?
flexible.
And
Yeah,
you,
they're-
you squeeze
yeah,
it
they're very good.
inside.
So I
of
go
there.
about an inch,
It took a
and
day
then I'll
to
put
get back to me, it's
the
okay.
and I mean, I put quite a bit in there.
Is there like a long nozzle on it?
Yeah,
Like
so it has a
me,
nozzle
just
about
hit
this
view
long,
for
so I just stick
okay,
the
you go
nozzle in there,
And you squeeze it
and
in
then I
there?
put tape
Okay,
around
yeah.
it, just to let it
Too
dry.
bad
Right.
experiences
And then I
with
cut
too
the
many
tape off.
different magic
And so.
shops.
And there's only maybe this much
The
glue in
rope
there.
is held from the inside instead of the outside. I like that.
Yeah,
I
well,
might start trying to do that.
and if you think about it, I mean, I'm okay if it frays a little bit,
But the thing
but
is-
once it starts
Yeah.
going completely
You know
like
what-
that, that's when it's.
You know what I do with that? I sew.
This
I
is
go
like
in about a
Canada,
half inch and I
But
sew
no
through it.
information
Okay,
about
and
magic
then I
or
let it
anything
fray.
like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I want it to
right.
fray
I
then.
gotta go back to.
Is
this
it
and
in-
that.
Everybody has a
People
different.
take
Is this-
money there.
Well, if I just wasn't cutting over and over.
I've got a Fisker scissors with a serrated
He's pretty good,
edge.
he's got a lot of good
Is
stuff.
that as good as this?
Well, you could try it for yourself if you'd like.
That's nice work.
They're sharp though, be careful, I've cut a fingertip off
Cut your
before.
finger off.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good scissors.
Yeah, it just bites it so it doesn't
Yeah.
slip out, that's the key.
Yeah, well, the serrated edge I think I have on my
Is that
Fisker
last
will
piece
probably
of
do
it?
that too.
Cigar
Well,
would
keep
cut
it
it
with
with
snap it out.
Oh, thanks for letting me share that with you.
Well, thank you for sharing it.
Thank you for sharing.
Oh, man.
I just think
Probably
there's
got a lot of
easy-
stuff there.
Yeah.
Nothing's sharp and it's all.
That was excellent, excellent. Monty.
But you gotta stick the rope up in it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna really do a trick, but I thought I'd share a couple of things with you. One secret that I've protected for a long, long time, but I think for something I created, I think I'll tell you. But I'm not gonna do a trick except for one. I noticed a new, different rubber band trick, and you guys may know this one. Crazy Man handcuffs, we all know. Nice follow through from Crazy Man handcuffs. Put the rubber band on, like that. They can see it on, like this. It's on nice and solid. But if you just grab it, it comes right off.
That's a nice move. That's a nice move.
It is really nice, and I'll do it in slow motion. You wouldn't think it possibly could, because it's really, look there, you can do it from either side. All you do is let it drop down, pick out the inside, and I'll do it in slow
Oh,
motion.
the inside, okay.
And it comes right off. It's a nice compliment to Crazy Man's handcuff.
Yeah.
I was playing with that again, because I just recently added this back in my arsenal. And I thought I'd play with that a little bit. I'm going to talk a couple more quick things, and then go share what I think is a superb mentalism secret with you. Scissors. When I was shopping for my scissors, my first set of scissors, I spent a lot of time going to fabric stores and asking them about scissors. I must have talked to 10 different fabric stores. And most any high quality scissors will work fine. Pick one you like. My set is about a $60-something set of scissors that I use all the time. But from what I learned one thing from the fabric shops. If you want and there's really just one rule on scissors. Don't use them on anything except fabric. Paper will dull them, will screw them up really quick. And I've been using this set of scissors I have now for a long time, and I've never used them for anything except rope. And they just cut through it like butter, you know? But that is really the biggest trick on scissors. Only use them for fabric. Don't use them to cut paper. Don't use them to cut anything other than fabric.
And don't try anything like peel off label paper that's got glue on it, because that'll take care of your scissors.
Yeah, glue will screw them up really good too. But if you follow that rule, then as long as you've got a nice set of scissors that you like, they'll last you forever. They're really, really good. We talked about card cases and signing cards a little bit. I'm picking up a little bit on some things I heard back there. Signing cards. What I do is I don't recommend to everybody, but you know, if you're in the appropriate situation, it's a good thing. Every paid show I do do an autograph card. And I think the autograph, I do one thing. I always give away the whole deck. So every time I do a paid show, I'm working with a brand new deck. and I always give it away. And what some people that's probably even seen me do it don't realize is if you look at the deck that I give away, inside the plastic here, it has my business card. It usually has about 5 business cards in it. Inside the plastic, when I give the deck away, there's an autograph card in there signed by the spectator and me. One business card is glued to the box. It stays with the box forever, and then there's about 4 or 5 on top of it that they can hand out. I want them to use this card. One of my favorite places that I've been doing a lot lately to give it away is a senior home. I will have a spectator pick a card, maybe even 1 or 2, and I always give it away afterwards. So they have that. I tell them this card, this deck now belongs to the senior center. And next time you're playing cards, I want you to use this deck of cards. And when you see the Queen of Hearts, I want you to think of Sue. Every time you see the Queen of Hearts. And when you see the Three of Diamonds, I want you to think of Bill. Every time you play those cards. And hopefully, after those people are dead and gone, they'll still be playing with the cards, and every time that card comes up, hopefully they'll be talking about and remembering the magician because he's on the cards on there. Nice little promotional trick. Yeah, it costs $3 or $4 every show. For me, it's worth it. For you, it might not be. You know, but I do it on every show. I just, especially if I'm doing a venue show where I can leave the cards with the venue, not an individual. Then it stays there like a community, you know, forever and ever and ever. But I just about always give away my cards. And mine always says, I have them sign it. I do an ambitious sign card similar to what Daryl did. And then afterwards I says, when it's all done, and I want you to remember this, and then I autograph it in front of them. And I tell them, I discuss Hawaii in my shows, so I tell them I'm going to add aloha, you know what that means, and mahalo, you know what that means. Talk about a little bit they remember it, and my autograph. That'll make it special because it has my autograph on it, it has Sue's name, it has Daryl's name, whatever. And then leave it with them. So hopefully something that you'll get a lot of repeat shows from. The other thing I'm going to share is what I've protected as pretty much a Monty secret for a long, long time. I've fooled magicians with this, and I've used it a lot. It's just a fun little mentalism trick that you can do. It's impromptu, and it works really good. Assume you're in McDonald's. You all buy something. You tell them, when you get to the cash register, make sure you get the receipt, hold up, put it in your pocket. Don't let anybody see it. And then sometime during the show, you do a prediction in any fashion you want, and you predict the receipt number, the number on that receipt. It blows their mind. Or you're at a magic convention. I've done it this way. I've done this jury duty for a court when I go to lunch for the other 12 jury members. And I've done it at magic conventions. You say, we go over and sit down at the table. See that lady over there? We don't know her, do we? I want you to go over and ask her if you can borrow her receipt. Don't look at it, don't let anybody see it, and make your prediction in whatever your style is. So basically, obviously I know the receipt number, and it's so simple. It is so simple it's going to blow your mind if you haven't figured it out already. When you're in line, okay, all you have to do, receipts are sequential. So all you gotta do is look at your receipt, and the person in front of you is one lower number, the person in back of you is one higher number. So just remember where they sit. Simple as that. Simple as that. And the time ways, they forget that you were right in front of them or they were right behind. It works. It works in places like McDonald's real well. It works in places like Quick Trips really well. It will even work in restaurants with their receipt pads or a bar tab, because most of those, not all of them, but most of those are numbered, and as long as it's the same waitress, they'll be sequential. And I have been doing that for 30 years, and this is the first time I've ever told it to anybody.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, have fun.
One question, do you always use jumbo index cards?
I try to, mainly because I do mainly parlor.
Seniors.
And I like jumbo index cards because they're easy to see from the back of the house. And that is the only reason I use jumbo cards. But I do always, I try to always use jumbo cards. When I buy a brick of cards, if I have a choice, it will always be jumbo. And if you're ordering them nowadays from Amazon, it's easy to get the jumbo cards. And since I always give them away, I just buy a couple of bricks at a time and jumbo. But yes, and I do that, and it's strictly an audience size thing. That is the only reason I do it. And up close, it doesn't matter. But I use the jumbo.
At our age, it's good to glimpse with the jumbo cards too.
Yeah, you can.
I've always used the regular ones, but I'm switching to the jumbos too. I just find jumbos are easier for people to see when you're working with them. They're better cards.
Mainly for visibility.
Yeah.
A jumbo card, you can probably read in a parlor type scenario, you can probably read a jumbo card from 15 to 20 seats back.
Sure.
You can't a small card.
No.
But a jumbo card, at least 10 rows back you can, and maybe as many as 20 depending on the person's vision and the lighting. But yeah, and that's why strictly a vision thing.
Phoenix makes a deck.
Huh?
That's not a jumbo deck. Phoenix cards. They're called like platform cards.
Oh, right.
30% larger than a poker-sized deck. They're much easier to see. And they kind of look like almost regular sized cards, but they're 30% bigger.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Yeah.
You mean the print's 30% bigger, not the card?
the
card
itself.
Oh, the card is 30%.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little
Yeah, I've got
bigger.
some of those too. Those are, I use those even in parlor, or even in close-up sometimes when I do like oil and water and so on. But you know what? You have to feel them to your hand. And I've got some that
Yeah.
are just the right size for my
Yeah,
hand,
yeah.
and so you can do that. But there are a lot of things in cards that would be very difficult to do with a larger card.
Yeah.
So you have to be selective in what
Yeah,
you're
of
using
course.
for. Yeah.
One other thing on that receipt prediction, a little more complicated, but it's more Marvin style. If you've got a long line, all you need to do is remember the sequence of the people behind you, especially if you know their names. Okay, with blah 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 blah, and then you can tell anybody, point to anybody over there, and all you got to do is just add and subtract the number of the sequence in the line.
Good idea.
One more thing since I'm up here. You asked about a top palm, one-handed top palm. Was there anything particular reason you was asking it?
It's one of the things I've tried to do all my life that I could never do right. And one of my early friends in magic, Bill Coomer from Cape Girardeau, Missouri, was the first magician ever to perform for Walmart stores. Made a lot of money working. He did a perfect one-hand top palm. Every time I did it, he did it with no effort whatsoever. And all he did was just his little pinky finger. And that card would snap right into his palm.
Yeah.
Every time I did it, mine would spin out to
So
the
is it
right.
like when this,
Yes.
I do a one-handed
The
top
idea.
palm all the time, and my hands are really dry right now, and I have for years.
oh, you just pulled it back.
Yeah, I just pull it back.
I don't know how you can do
Huh?
that. That's just amazing.
I have
But-
trouble with my
But
pinky.
what I like
can't-
about
my
the
pinky
one-handed
is strong
top
enough.
palm is I do it. I've done it for years. I only do it in one scenario though. It's always the same scenario. I want the customer to be, the spectator to be able to shuffle the cards, but then I want to force the card on them. That's the only time I do it. And basically, I do it always the same way. I take and I palm, Daryl shuffle the cards. And that's when I do it. And that time I palmed off 4. But but I always do it. I like doing it there because when I hand them the cards, nobody's paying attention. They're looking at me. Nobody's looking at the cards. The hand is total misdirection there. And that's the only time I ever do it. Because if I don't want to return a card to the top, there's really no reason to do it. Or if you want to, some people do it if they're going to have the card reappear someplace else.
Right, Bill would always do it with a little Paul wallet. Card
Yeah,
wallet.
to reappear in a wallet or something. So they'll do it after. But you don't need a one-hand top palm for that.
Of course not, but that was just, he was perfect with it. It was just, you know.
But yeah, anyway, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Control and then.
Anything else?
Do the jumbo cards, I assume that they're the same quality?
Yeah, they're
Good
bicycle.
decks and bad decks, but no, I don't have to put, the thing is.
Just like any other
I
bicycle.
understand the logic, and I wish I could force myself to do it, but then again, I don't do that much card magic, so it really doesn't matter, but I just don't like the way they look, but I understand totally, it makes perfect sense when you're on a stage. Jumbo index is the way to go, you know?
Well,
I'm definitely going all the way that way.
I know a ton of sleights, but I really only do one card trick.
Yeah, we don't.
I do an ambitious routine and that's it. I mean, I
Card in your pocket?
used to do packet tricks. I still do a few packet
But that
tricks.
pocket trick where you pull in the card out and, is that part of the ambitious?
That's part of my
routine?
ambitious
Okay.
card. Yeah, that's the finale of my ambitious card.
That's a good routine.
Yeah, that's
You
a.
should teach that.
Huh? I don't mind teaching it. Actually, I don't even think it's mine.
Oh,
Well,
really?
at our next jam for the card thing, that'll be one of the things.
Yeah, let's plan, I think everybody's got card moves that they do. And, yeah, let's do, I'd like to have a night around the table, not here, but around the table.
It's a good
Where we
idea.
sit around and see what's happening.
I know a lot of moves, but I don't do a lot of card tricks. I do moves.
Well, that's all I think
Yeah.
we're looking
Talking
for,
about
we'll
is
create our own
yes.
tricks with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
You
like
want the
to
tools.
ad lib, and that's why I do moves. I learn moves, and then I don't give a hoot about the trick.
Well, the thing is,
Make it on the fly. You know?
you try to do, I've seen you do
Wait,
cards,
that was-
right? And what I like about your card, when you do cards, you're not losing sight of what you're doing. I've seen too many
You know,
magicians
I,
do card tricks that are so complicated,
everybody.
the spectator can't keep track of what the hell they're doing. And it's just stupid,
Yeah.
you know. Make it simple, and it's all about the effect,
You do this.
and the effect on the spectator.
Another
So when
thing
you're
I'm
going forward,
really
you put this
big
card
on
up here.
with card
Oh,
tricks
only from behind.
is
with your
I
knuckle,
think a good
Pull
card
this
trick,
card back.
you should be
You're
able
pull
to
this card
start
forward.
or stop at any place in the routine. And
See?
if you notice mine,
This pulls the card
most
back.
of them you can.
Card
Yeah,
back.
in your hands here.
So if I
Crotch
get,
your
if
finger.
I'm